we went to a private reserve called Mabula, and we chose Kwafu Basi, which was a tented safari camp. When you're doing a game drive, it's, 2 to 3, sometimes pushing the 4-hour mark. You're dealing with a 10 or a 12-year-old, they're going to get kind of bored after a little while. So they add in additional educational things. So you learn how to track animals. You cast their footprints. You learn about the different animals that are on the safari. And even though these are 100% wild animals, they will have a different interaction for the ones that you can be just a little bit more interactive with.
I love that.
So
I love that.
It's tailored to families.
Have you been dreaming of travel but not sure where to go or how to begin planning? Well, you found the right podcast.
Welcome to Theme Parks and Passports, the travel podcast for every family ready to explore the world, one destination at a time. I'm Melissa Sanchez, travel addict, wife, and mom of 2 big kids. Along with planning all my family adventures, I've been helping others realize their travel dreams through my company, Spellbound Vacations, since 2010.
And I'm Heidi Mackey, a travel enthusiast with a passion for geek and pulp culture. I'm also a wife and a mom of a spicy tween. Since 2017, I've been creating vacation memories for families through my business, House of Mackey Travel. Join us as we share stories, tips, and talk to those in the know to inspire your family's next great adventure.
Because creating family travel memories can happen in any stage of life. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's Theme Parks and Passports. I'm Melissa Sanchez with Spellbound Vacations.
And I'm Heidi Mackey with House of Mackey Travel.
And we wanted to do a second episode about our trip to South Africa. While Heidi and I did experience our En Voyage Worldwide 2025 conference at Sun City together, we each did a few different things. I did my G Adventure Safari beforehand, which we talked about last time. And Heidi did some traveling afterwards. So we'll get into that. But Heidi, what was your experience at conference? How did you feel about it?
I thought it was great. We're part of a community that is worldwide. So we got to meet brand new people. The main areas are New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Canada, and the United States. And we've had the opportunity to play with our Canadian friends before, but this is the first time we really got to meet. Or I did. Actually, you got to meet them before, but this is the first time I got to meet them. And South Africa was amazing and absolutely amazing hosts. They put on a great conference where I feel like I learned a ton. And then each night they made sure that we were completely engrossed in the culture. Don't you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And just kind of a side note about Sun City itself. Sun City is about 2.5 hours or so from Johannesburg, is a massive resort with a water park and a golf course. The person who designed and built Sun City is the same who has done the Atlantis resorts. So if you're familiar with those, that kind of gives you an idea of how large and how much Sun City had to offer. And we were staying at the Palace of the Lost City at Sun City. So that's where our rooms were, and it was amazing. And like Heidi said, the conference itself, well, yes, we had speakers and we had learning sessions, but in general, each evening we were immersed into this culture with the entertainment and the foods and the locations. Do you want to talk a little bit about night one, Heidi?
Yes. The first night we had a traditional braai boma, which is a boma is an enclosed area and a braai is a barbecue essentially. And so it was an excellent introduction to the culture and to the food that is very unique to South Africa. We had these dancers come in and do an amazing performance for us. We had a live singer. We got to dance a little bit. There was a bonfire. It was so much fun.
So at this event, we had talked about previously my food choices, which I just would like, again, sorry, side note again. I talked a little bit about stew last time. and I called it antelope stew, and it was not. I don't even know if that's actually a thing. I think I just totally made that up. It was impala stew, and again, it was delicious. But at this event, there were some other traditional foods there, including fop, which is like kind of like a polenta type. Was there anything that you tried, Heidi, that you really liked, or?
I really enjoyed the Sheba sauce that goes with the
Mm.
pop, which is a tomato onion. It's not really, it looks like it should be closer to like a marinara, but it does not have the same spices. It was really refreshing. I found most of the food very refreshing, and my favorite parts of everything was really what they did to the cooked vegetables.
And I wouldn't know because I don't really eat vegetables. Although the salad was fabulous. And here's an interesting thing I noted. Every place that I had salad, and I don't know if you noticed this too, there was always feta cheese to go with it. And feta is one of my literal favorite cheeses. So I loved it. Like salad with feta and a couple other little things. I don't really eat, like I said, vegetables. So,
We found so yeah, the feta everywhere, and what I found afterwards, which we'll go into shortly, but goat cheese.
Mm,
That was really the second like most common cheese that was there, which makes sense. I mean, that's really the process of both of them
yeah.
is much easier where in South Africa than it would be than other cheeses would be in the area.
Yeah, definitely. And then on night 2, we had our Envy Awards, which is an event. It's a formal event, so we were all dressed up in our formal clothes, and if you check out both Heidi and I our social media, you'll see some of the outfits we were wearing, some of the outfits others were wearing. It was so exciting to walk into the venue, and every country was sitting in their own, exclusive area with our flags being waved. And there was this big stage, which was so fun. And it was so awesome to celebrate our colleagues from honestly around the globe and their incredible accomplishments over the last year.
And you're being very modest, but weren't you part of that pool also? Do you want to talk a little bit about yours?
I was part of that bullet. Honestly, I was completely shocked, completely caught off guard. I was nominated for Travel Entrepreneur of the Year. And while I did not win, this may sound cliche, but honestly, like it really was an honor to be nominated. The other four, they nominate an agent in each category from each country. So the winner of this particular category was from Australia. But just to think that, like I said, I was nominated was really exciting, and really I strive to be a leader in industry, and I felt like that was a bit of recognition for that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, and I can tell you everybody at our table definitely saw you as a winner because out of everyone in the United States, you were chosen to represent us, and that's the win. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's just the fact that each of those categories has somebody from each country. So there's 5 nominees in each. Like I think all of us who were nominated, it again, like it's just exciting. And you don't know. You don't know in advance. So it's not like the Oscars where they already knew they were nominated. It's literally like it pops up on the screen and your name is there. So it's super exciting for everybody. And hopefully next year we'll see ourselves up there again.
So then the third night, we had this amazing closing party that was at the water park that is at Sun City. But it was essentially it's a beach.
Yeah.
It's a wave pool beach, and we were on the sand. I can tell you, after dancing the entire night away, I had a very hard time walking for the next not 1, but 2 days.
Yeah. And I had my shoes off all night. And so I have to tell you, the sand was very
Oh.
dusty.
Mhm.
My one of our colleagues had on a pair of sandals that they were flip-flops. They were black and they had like, little rhinestones on them, whatever. By the end of the night, they were gray. They were no longer
Wow.
black because your feet were covered in the dust. And so you had to by the time you get back to your room, you certainly had to wash your feet before you got into your bed, but it was a really cool experience, and again, it was kind of another braai, right? Because we had all
Yeah.
these amazing foods to eat, all these fantastic desserts, and it just really was just a fun night and, the conference and to come together and celebrate everything, and it ended in fireworks, which was really fun.
Oh yeah, the fireworks were so much fun and the music just went on and it was great.
It was perfect, and then we each had things going on the following morning. I was supposed to do a hot air balloon safari, but the winds were too high, so we were not able to go up, so that was disappointing, but you did get to do some exciting things post-conference, Heidi.
Yes, I wasn't able to do any of the guided tours like you did. So, what we decided to do was another colleague and myself, we decided to go to a tented camp. So, we had the flexibility of picking how many nights we were going to be there.
Mhm.
That's basically what got us there. But we ended up going to this private reserve about 2 hours away from Sun City and 2 hours east of Johannesburg, so we did like a nice triangle. But we went to a private reserve called Mabula, and there's a couple of properties that are on there that do different things, and we chose Kwafu Basi, which was a tented safari camp. It was really nice. I'd call it boutique in that it's got 5 tents, 2 people per tent, so at any point in time, the max number of people is gonna be 10,
Oh, that's great.
along with staff. Really the whole point of being there was to wake up in the morning, do a game drive, have your cup of coffee, cup of tea, hot cocoa, looking out at the safari, come back, have a 2 to 3 course breakfast, chill out, have an amazing lunch. 4 o'clock, get back in, do another game drive, have pre-drinks on the safari, come back and have a 3 or 4 course dinner, go to sleep, and repeat it the next day. It was the most amazing vacation I've had in a very
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, and even with those, like, early mornings, it's still like, I don't know about you, but I was fine getting up at 5 a.m. every day
Yes.
because look what you were doing, going out on safari, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was energizing. I wanted to be up. I wanted to be on the game drive. I took a nap once. The second time, I just sat next to they had a very small pool, which I was able to put my feet into because it was still actually quite
Yeah.
cold. They were just coming out of winter
Mhm.
and moving into spring. It wasn't even officially spring yet. But feet in the pool and even out from where I could see the impalas and warthogs and not and wildebeests
Mhm.
out. Like they could have walked up to the pool and had a drink.
Yeah.
They're right there, and there's just something magical about being in the middle of that. And even though we were only there, we counted 44 hours. That's it. 44 hours from stepping onto the property and leaving the property. We did 4 game drives.
Wow.
We did another Boma. We eat so much food. There was the same food, but different
Mhm.
because it was served in such a smaller way than it was at Sun City. So that was really interesting to see. We had an ostrich steak one day. Even the beef tastes very different there, eggs every morning. That was actually something, if we want to talk about food, that was something I was super impressed by. No matter where we were, eggs were 100% fresh. Like they
Yeah.
cracked them in front of you.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite things while we were there just because of how fresh it was.
I agree, but I will say by the time I at the end of 2 weeks, I was like, "Okay, I need an egg break." 'Cause I
Yes.
was eating eggs every morning for breakfast, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go home back to my protein shakes and, the
Yeah.
relaxation." But you mentioned to me, Heidi, that the game drives you did, the tented camp that you were staying at, that they actually have custom, kind of like what you did, a customization that you can do with your family in particular, and they actually have things geared towards kids that they can do.
Yes, they're part of a larger group. So like I said, in in Mabula, there are about 5 properties that are on there. One is more of a traditional resort where there's a pool, there's everything includes game drives, but it's more of your hotel with the game drive access to it. There are lodges that you can rent as a family and you can have the whole lodge to yourself. There are villas that are very high end. And then they have one of their resorts does have a very kind of robust children's program.
Mm.
So that's where you would take your family. They would, and their drives not only include the drives, so they'll adjust the drives because when you're doing a game drive, it's, 2 to 3, sometimes pushing the 4 hour mark driving around, which doesn't even feel, it was the most comfortable drive I think I've ever taken. But you're dealing with a 10 or a 12-year-old, they're going to get kind of sort of bored after a little while. So they add in additional educational things. So you learn how to track animals, you cast their footprints, you learn about the different animals that are on the safari. And actually, they set up with, even though these are 100% wild animals, they will have a different interaction for the
Mm.
ones that you can be just a little bit more interactive with.
I love that.
So
I love that.
it's tailored to families. Yeah. They also have resorts that are in Kruger also.
Oh, in the Kruger area. And that's great because, if you are thinking of traveling with your kids, the experience that I did with G Adventures, National Geographic Journeys has specific family. But if you're looking to do something where you really want to customize it, while G Adventures offers private, this is a perfect way to customize, maybe even add on to a safari, do it at the beginning and meet up with a, customized tour that you did or a private tour or a group tour. It's a good way to start or finish another tour and get a little bit more safari in. And just to add to that, a lot of our colleagues started before conference or after conference and went to Cape Town also. And that's a
Yes.
great addition to a trip to South Africa too. Maybe do your safari and then add on, whether it's on your own or with the safari company, the tour company you've booked with, and add on a trip down to Cape Town to explore the city, see the penguins, do all that. There's so much to see and do in South Africa that honestly 2 weeks, it wasn't enough. It really wasn't enough to be there for that long. It needed to be
No.
longer.
Yeah, and I mean, I was only able to get over there for about 9 days, and that included 2 full days of travel. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would have loved to be able to do something a little bit, to taste more of
Mhm.
what South Africa has. Cape Town is very different than the areas. Even Sun City versus
Oh, yeah.
Kwafubesi, they were so different that if I had simply done the conference and then come home, I really would have missed out on a ton.
Agreed, agreed. I think if we had only done the conference, we definitely would have missed out on so much that South Africa has to offer. And to be perfectly honest, there is so much that we still could do there. So it looks like, we may need to set up another trip to go back. And there's just, it's great to be able to cross that off my bucket list, but it sort of has an asterisk next to it. Asterisk is must go back to see more,
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on this episode. Make sure if you hadn't listened already to our previous episode that we recorded while we were actually at Sun City, where I talk about eating mopami worms. You can hear all about that.
And definitely, if you want to see more about our adventures, visit us on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram, I'm House of Mackie Travel, and Melissa is Spellbound Vacations LLC. And we'd love to share I don't know about you, but in 44 hours, I had over 700 pictures. So I can only imagine how many you ended up with. So I'm going to be sharing for a while.
Yeah, same between my husband and I, because he was with me on this trip. We have over 4,000 photos and videos. We haven't even downloaded our GoPro videos yet. I don't know what we've been waiting for. We've been home for a week, but I think we've been sifting through the 4,000 other photos and videos that we
Right.
have. Well, thanks again, everyone. We look forward to you joining us on our next episode.
You can hear us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. See you next time.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit subscribe on Spotify or your favorite podcast player. And while you're there, feel free to leave us a rating and review.
Check out the show notes for links to Spellbound Vacations LLC and House of Mackie Travel. Until next time, keep living your best travel life.